Hi, it's Ghost, and welcome back, and welcome to my first impressions of Call of Duty World War II since its release. Now, I've got about 5 hours of playtime in the multiplayer, so not that much experience, but I have got a good feel for it. I've also completed the campaign, and I've played through the zombies a little bit. I got to around about 32, I think, in the zombies, so I've got a bit of a good understanding of what the game feels like. And I have to say, it has got off to a little bit of a rocky start. I'm sure I don't need to tell you guys that. I'm sure if you've jumped on and played it, you will have experienced the inability to find games, the questionable hit detection at times, and just the random disconnects that you get through because the server can't connect to the game. It's not been wonderful, though this does seem quite reminiscent of the release of Battlefield 4, and as we all know, the release of Battlefield 4 was quite poor. The netcode was something quite spectacularly awful, and it was quite unenjoyable to play, though by the end of its life cycle, that game was incredible and one of the best Battlefields we've seen in a long time. So with that in mind, let's not judge Call of Duty World War II too harshly before we've got into the main depth of the game. It's only been out a few days now, so we can't really judge them too harshly on that. And let's be fair, if we are Activision, you can kind of understand why they wouldn't necessarily invest super heavily in their servers, because if we look at the last two releases of the Call of Duty titles, they haven't been particularly brilliant, and no one's really wanted to play them. This, however, did get quite a lot more hype than the previous two titles. It didn't get completely bombed on the trailers as the last Call of Duty did, so they could have expected that there was going to be a little bit more interest in the game. But you can't be 100% surprised when the servers don't work, when there's hundreds of thousands of people wanting to play it at any one time. We only have to look at PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, and we have very much the same issue that they have. They cannot support the amount of people that want to play the game at any one time. They weren't predicting that amount of people wanting to play it, and you can't blame them for making that small little error in judgment. Hopefully this will be fixed and altered and get a bit better over the time, and as we have seen over the last few days since the game first came out to what it is now, you can definitely jump on. There are actually people in the headquarters and you can find games, and you don't get disconnected quite so often, and I do feel the hit detection seems a little bit better. Hopefully this will just continue to improve through the whole life cycle of the game, so we shall eagerly watch over the upcoming weeks and months to see how this game changes and improves along its life cycle. I can't believe Sledgehammer aren't going to support this as much as they supported any other title, and I think with the adequate support and a few little tweaks and changes, this game will be amazing. Now, moving quickly on from that, let's move on to another feature of the game, which is the campaign, and I thought the campaign in this game was absolutely fantastic. It was really well put together, and I entirely enjoyed playing it much more than I've played many of the other Call of Duty campaigns, although nothing will probably top the Call of Duty 4's sniper mission. I love that thing. I could play that so many times over and over again. But all in all, I thought this was a really good campaign. There were a few things that I found a little bit odd. There were a lot of stealth missions, which I found really odd, as there weren't really any stealth mechanics in the game, so it found a little bit janky some of the times doing those, but for the most part I thought it was absolutely brilliant. On top of that, I also found it really weird that they added in a health pack system. I understand why they did it, because they wanted this sort of squad mechanic, but to add the health in just seemed a little bit odd, because it's very contrary to the way that you'd normally play Call of Duty. So I was just a little bit sort of baffled to why you'd want this sort of system just for the campaign and not sort of transition it over to the zombies or the multiplayer. However, that said, it did still work. It was a little bit challenging on some of the missions. I did play through it all on hardened. I didn't go all the way up to the veteran status because I actually wanted to kind of enjoy it a little bit. I kind of feel if you play it on the really hard setting, it's just it's a lot of retrying the same thing and hoping that you've worked out where everyone is before you just die to one bullet, and that can be a little irritating. So I wanted to try and enjoy it a little bit more, so I played through it on hardened difficulty, and for the most part I thought it was absolutely fantastic. There were a couple of missions that were incredibly difficult on the hardened difficulty setting with that health mechanic in the game, but I thought it was a lot of fun, and I'd highly recommend that you do jump on and give the campaign a good try. Now, moving on from the campaign, we come to one of my favourite features in Call of Duty games at the moment, which is the zombies mode. I loved zombies in both of the Black Ops games. I say both of them. I never actually played Black Ops 3, so I didn't play that one. But in Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2, I absolutely loved zombies. And I spent so much time playing through with groups of friends, or just playing with randoms and having a great time playing through the game. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. And I was a bit apprehensive of what this was going to be like, because it isn't Treyarch zombies. So I know they are the kind of kings of zombies. So I was wondering what Sledgehammer were going to give us. And I have to say, they've absolutely knocked it out of the park. It's a brilliant game mode, should I say. and it's really a lot of fun. There are a few things that I don't really like. I don't really like the characters having the perk systems, and I do think the camouflage system is a little bit strong of just activate this thing after a set amount of kills and all zombies can't see you and they just sort of stand around. It does give you sort of a reprieve to be able to kill the boss zombies a little bit easier. So with that, I may have to sort of work on that one a little bit more to see whether I like it or not. But for the most part, I think it was absolutely fantastic. And I do quite like the idea of having the boss zombies. They sort of break up the sort of monotonous just shooting the same zombies over and over again. So I really do quite like that feature as well. And I think they've done it really well. It did take me, I have to say, I was playing the other day with a group of 3 randoms, and they all went off and did the sort of unlocked everything, and I was just sort of running around cluelessly looking at this map going, this thing is massive. And I have to say, it is an absolutely gigantic zombies map. I remember back in the day of the first zombies map we ever got, which was that tiny little, I can't remember, Knock the Totem was it called? I think it was called. And that was such a small map. It was about the size of the sort of starting room on this new zombies map. So it is a huge map, and that is definitely something to take into consideration. It really does take you a long time to get around the whole map and learn where everything is. And whilst I was learning where this whole map was, my team went off and opened the Pack-a-Punch or the upgrade machine and found all the perks and everything, and I'm still running around like going, wow, this is pretty. Look at this, is a big zombie. Why is this thing chasing me? Why is that thing buzzing at me? And during this time, my team went off and unlocked and made everything work in the map, and I was not with them, so I didn't have a clue where it was, and it took me to around 25 before I figured out where the upgrade machine was. And at this point, I was really kind of struggling to kill some of the zombies, so as soon as I did it and upgraded my weapons, I was like, oh, well, this makes a lot of sense. I can now kill some of these boss zombies without having to use the whole of the ammo that I picked up from this bar and just running circles around and around and picking up more and more ammo. And I did kind of feel that made it a little bit easier. So it definitely is something you should do, is learn the map before you just sort of jump in and start trying to survive as long as possible. I do feel there is one perk which seems a little bit arbitrary and is almost kind of like a must pick in the game, which is the increased weapon damage. I don't really understand why it's there. It doesn't really seem to make much sense that it shouldn't just be something that's added onto the upgrade system. I was a little bit sort of baffled to why that was there, but it is definitely a must pick and you should know where that one is. It's sort of, I'm not going to try and explain it because I don't really know the map very well. But that said, I do think the zombies mode is absolutely fantastic. I'm really looking forward to playing it a little bit more with some mates, trying to sort of figure out the Easter egg, which I don't think anyone's figured out as of yet. I mean, you get the sort of one that you get guided through, so you do kill a boss zombie, but there is a sort of hidden one, which I don't know whether anyone's really figured that one out yet. So I'm really excited to see how that one progresses and what we're going to see from that Easter egg, and whether we get some new zombies. And also gives me great hope for the future of zombies and what we're going to see in the upcoming maps for them. I'm really interested and really excited to see what we're going to get from them. Now moving back over to the multiplayer, I have to say for the most part I am really enjoying the multiplayer, though there is quite a steep learning curve for me. I haven't played Call of Duty in 3 or 4 years, and learning to COD again is a very different experience to the games I've been playing of late. I've been playing a lot of PUBG and Rainbow Six Siege, and both of those games play incredibly differently to the way you play Call of Duty. So having to learn to Call of Duty again is taking a long time for my mind to figure back out. I need to sort of work on my snap reactions a bit more and being able to just being used to running around constantly and shooting things all the time. And I'm just not used to that. So it's going to take me a while to get back into grips of playing Call of Duty, but hopefully I'll get there and we'll sort of start getting a bit better score streak or better scores than I have been. That said, with the better scores comes kill streaks, which does bring out something that is a big issue for me in the game. As it currently sits, and as it did sit in the beta, the score streaks don't seem to do anything. They're incredibly lackluster. They don't seem to get very many kills, and I don't really see much requirement to run the higher streaks. They don't seem to do very much. Although they are quite fun, I've got to the point where I've called in a couple of airborne, and I think between the 2 or 3 that I've called in, they've got 1 or 2 kills. I say as kill streaks don't do anything as someone picks up a 4-man feed with the fighter pilot, partly down to my idiocy of running straight into the thing. I was like a couple points off my own one and I ran the wrong direction. Not very intelligent. But I don't feel that they do very much. The artillery strike, and I think there's another one which is much like the 4th highest streak, it's like the napalm strike. Both of these streaks were like 5 kill streaks in previous Call of Duties, and I don't really understand why they've been expended to these huge kill streaks, and they don't really seem to do anything more than those 5 kill streaks used to do in the older versions of the game. So I'm a little bit lost to the kill streaks. I haven't got the ball turret gunner yet, and I haven't got the V2 rocket because I haven't actually managed to stay alive for 25 kills yet. But I'm really interested to see how it sort of progresses, and maybe they'll keep buffing them a little bit. They did buff them during the beta, so hopefully they'll get a little bit more improved. The other big issue I've got at the moment was the sniper rifles. During the beta, everyone's sort of saying the sniper rifles seem a little bit overtuned. Maybe it might be sort of good to sort of tone them down a little bit. Unfortunately, they didn't seem to do this at all, and the sniper rifles, although they seemed really strong in the beta, there weren't a mass amount of people using them because most people were running around with the SMGs and the assault rifles trying to get sort of interesting gameplays for the upcoming sort of getting a bit of new content for everyone. However, when more and more people jump on and start using the snipers, and when you get some of the optic and the phase guys using the snipers, it really does exacerbate how big a problem the snipers are. You can absolutely go to town with them. I'm not one of those guys, and I'm not that good with the sniper rifle, but when you are good, you can absolutely destroy people with them. And I do think they need a little bit of a tweak. On top of that, I don't really like the shell shock system. Don't really understand that. If there wasn't a stun grenade, I could understand it being there, but there is a stun grenade, so I don't really see the point of it. Maybe I just need to man up and play the armored class. Who knows? Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. These are my first thoughts on the game. I'm sure they will change as time goes on, but if you did enjoy this, if you could leave me a like rating, that would be hugely appreciated. If you'd like to see more videos from me, subscribe, and I shall see you next time. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye for now. Bye.